is Lynn Horshak. I had the pleasure of designing this very special Master's in Art Education with an emphasis in special populations. It's the only one like it in the country. And it came from my experience of 36 years of teaching in the Philadelphia public school system. I just want to say how absolutely proud I am of my graduate students, both the alums and the ones that are currently in the program. They have done fantastic thesis research that is making a difference in schools and districts immediately, right now. One student has enrolled in a PhD program so she can continue her work with English language learners, the work that she started in this graduate program. I also have a current student who's applying to PhD programs so she too continue the work that she's been doing. My students are speaking at conferences, writing papers, and they have given wonderful input to me and Dr. Beverly Gerber because we are writing a white paper for the Kennedy Center on the need for a national resource center for where art and special ed intersect. Their input has been invaluable. So I hope you enjoy the video that follows. And I look forward to speaking with you about our one-of-a-kind graduate program. Thank you.
I chose Moore's graduate program in art education because I have a history here. I got my undergraduate here in textile design, and I student taught under Lynn Horshak, who is the program manager for special populations. I knew her high work ethic and that this program would be excellent and that it would stretch me.
Well, I initially found out about the grad program here through the continuing ed program. My students were taking Saturday classes here, and through me coming down and visiting, I met with the director of continuing education, and she brought to my attention this program that was very unique. It specialized with these type of special populations, which was new to me. I found it super relevant to my population of student body at my school, and that's what intrigued me about the program. So from that point, that's when I started researching about Moore College and the grad programs offered here, and that's when I decided to apply.
I chose this graduate program at Moore because of the standards that they had set when I came here for my certification. They were very high, and everything that I learned in the certification program related to things that I needed when I went to my classroom. So I figured, and I knew the staff and the faculty were so fantastic and dedicated and knowledgeable that when I came to the graduate program, that could only add to my learning and to my knowledge and leadership within my own school.
What I appreciated from the professors in the program was their background and experience in teaching and in special populations specifically. However, because they're presently employed, they were able to bring understanding of what is present, of what's current in special populations and how it's different than it was 16 years ago when I first started teaching. And that was an area in which I needed to learn.
Well, the professors are very knowledgeable. They introduce different concepts that I was not really aware of. This program has a really good way of making you look at the world differently. Even after my first semester, like, things just started changing. I started seeing my school differently, I started seeing my students differently, and just slowly but surely I started gearing all my lessons, just tweaking them a little bit to kind of adapt to everyone's kind of individual needs. The professors really kind of strive to make their students understand that it's not so far-fetched to change your classroom, to change your thinking, to change the way things are done in your school. They make it very, I guess, they just make it attainable, I guess you could say. They make it attainable for you to do.
The professors in this program are very dedicated. They absolutely want you to succeed, and they do whatever they need to help you succeed. So if it's re-explaining a theory or sitting down with you one-on-one and talking about what they can do to help, they're here to make you successful. The people that came in to speak for the different programs were great because their added knowledge and their experience were beneficial to a class that may have only been able to touch on certain things. By bringing in these specialists, we were able to go more in depth.
The field trips were very specifically planned to engage us in understanding what it is like to be a person with a special need. I remember in particular going to the art museum in Philadelphia and learning what it would be like to be a blind person coming into the museum to see art. So we were actually wearing blindfolds and listening to someone describe artwork to us. Immediately my other senses were more engaged, and it helped me understand what it would be like to not have sight. We met an artist who wasn't born blind but became blind about the age of 30. It was exciting to listen to her talk about what it means to feel clay and to make artwork. And I appreciated how some of her pieces are designed to allow students to actually touch the art, students who are blind and students who have vision.
The field trips were so varied and so, how do I put this? They were so shocking in some ways to get so close to some of these instances that you would not normally get a chance to participate in or to view or to get your feet wet with. Really valuable experiences that you wouldn't be able to get in a regular classroom.
The visitors who came to the program brought another point of view, particularly the ones who didn't have a teaching background. We learned from a middle-aged man who has high-functioning autism what it is like to create art, what it's like to travel throughout the city and make connections by looking at certain stop signs and making connections about where to catch which bus and learning how to tell time in order to maneuver throughout the city. It gave me a greater understanding of what it's like to have a special need, and also a high regard and respect for someone who doesn't have all the abilities that I have, yet is able to create art that is very moving and that's expressive of themselves. I was able to manage working and doing the program simultaneously, and that's because of the way it is planned. For some classes, we met monthly, and for others, we met every other month, depending on whether or not the courses ran through the summer or the fall. Meeting once a month, the professors took measures to keep us up to date by having rigid guidelines and deadlines for us to complete work. We were able to confer with them through email. We got cell phone numbers from the professors. It was evident that they were eager for us to succeed.
Oh, the schedule is fantastic here. There's intensive weekends, sometimes Saturdays and Sundays. They can be long, but there's breaks, and every moment is vital. It's not just wasted hours. Every time that we're in class, physically, it is super imperative. And then also there are assignments that are due online. There is an online portion of most classes, but it's not confusing. It's very easy to manage, and the assignments that are due outside of the actual school day are also manageable. They're not too extra, dare I say.
This program is great for those students who want to get their master's degree and to still be able to teach full time and have a life. I'm not saying that it's not rigorous. It's extremely rigorous. And the standards are very high, but you can still get it done, and you can get it done within a year, which is amazing. These classes are so relevant. It's amazing. Everything that you learn in the grad program can be immediately applied the next day in your classroom. There's nothing is going to go to waste. Whether it's something that you're learning through technology, whether it's something you're learning in writing, whether it's something you're learning that's related to a special needs population, everything is applicable. My principal came to me the other day and said, what you're doing, the differentiated teaching that you're doing in your classroom is so relevant. So that really justified for me that it was needed and applicable.
I feel that the education I received here at Moore, and I'm continuing to receive, has, well, it's obvious that it's inspired me. But as I continue, I realize, okay, I have not graduated yet, but there's still so much more in this field that I want to research and that I want to uncover. And it's a narrow opening right now, this special education merged with art ed, and I just feel that if there's more work to be done, I think that we're the ones to do it.
I would highly recommend this program. I was at a point in my life personally where I needed to dig deeper or get out of the profession. Studying special needs helped me understand the great need and power that we have as art teachers to help our students in special populations. 16 years ago when I began teaching, I may have had 1 or 2 students who had an IEP. Now there are maybe 7 or 8 in one class who have special needs, and we know as art teachers there are others that it may not be documented, but we tend to see things, I don't want to say before the classroom teacher, but in some cases that's the story, that's what happens. Being equipped to document what we do is so important, because when you take the time to write something down, it becomes important. It has power.
Would I recommend more? I always recommend more. Every time I have the chance. To my students, some of my students have gone on to apply here, to be accepted here, to win scholarships here. To educators, fellow educators, Moore has a plethora of scholarships and half scholarships for their students. I'm just a big advocate. I can't help it. I love it here.
Would I recommend this program? Of course I would recommend this program. There is no other program like this in the United States. Therefore, we are on the cutting edge. We are researching, and what we're doing is extremely valuable to the field of art education, to the students in public education, with special needs, across the board. It's valuable. And what's happening here at Moore is going to be the catalyst for the future of education. The research, the rigor, all of that's necessary. If you are thinking about going to the doctoral program, the rigor of this program is easily transferable to your doctorate. You are creating academic research and writing on a doctoral level, so it's very easy to transfer to the next level.